So today we're getting our very first teaser of DLC 1, which is probably going to be the Vietnam map, probably going to be Quezon, which is very, very exciting. And also because of this and that we're getting our first teasers today, we're probably going to get a reveal for this map on the 15th because Treyarch has previously teased at that for Zombies people. So we're probably getting that reveal. So that's going to be hype. But for now, let's look at the teaser that we got today. And the teaser is this image you'll see on screen tweeted out by Treyarch themselves. Now, what this obviously is looks like a overview of the upcoming map. This looks like what's going to be our DLC 1 map, which, you know, being an overview, it gives us a lot of information, but it doesn't give us any, you know, fine detail information. So we can generally see like what's going on here, but this is not going to give us a good idea of what's actually going to be happening when we're playing, because seeing an overview of something and actually being there is obviously a very different experiences. So, you know, don't really think that we could like tell you how exactly this is. Of course, we could speculate on where, you know, maybe the spawn location is going to be, where we're going to be doing things, where power is, where pack punch is going to be, because those seem like we could actually speculate on that because of what we'd seen in D Machina and what we could connect over here. But either way, another major thing that we could gather from this is if you look at the surrounding area around this, and it looks very much jungle-y, if that's a word. So it makes a lot of sense if you look at both the rumors and the teasers that Treyarch has officially given us that the next map, DLC 1, is going to be in Vietnam, more specifically Quezon, Vietnam, which this seems to more than confirm. I mean, it was already more than confirmed with the intel that we got in-game, is like pretty sure, but this just absolutely confirms it that the next map is going to be a Vietnam map, as you guys could see right here, which, you know, love to see that. As for what we could gather from the overview, there's like this really, you know, disc looking thing on top of a building, which I don't know what that's about, so maybe we'll have to wait and see for a better image of that, or just wait for maybe the reveal or actually playing it. And the other major, I guess, weird looking thing of note is the, you know, the sphere building that the arrow is pointing towards, but we'll get more into that because, you know, it literally explains what that is with the writing on this, which is what we're going to be getting into right now. But now, where I first want to start is instead of that spot, I want to start on the left because we read left to right over here. But what it says is, this is the place I spoke of, Omega Outpost 25. And if we go over to the top right, Omega Portal Chamber. This is where the portal is maintained to the Dark Ether. And the bottom right says, more soon, R. So there's a lot of things that we could talk about here, but the first thing I want to talk about is the top right one, because that is the one that just stands out more than all the other ones, because it says Omega Portal Chamber. This is where the portal is maintained to the Dark Ether. So this is something we had seen literally in D Machina, where we have the portals, the rifts, whatever you want to call them. They are where we go to the Dark Ether. So that's probably where, if you guys seen the intel, that a portal had opened near Quezon. This is where we got the information from, and Omega Group moved in to build a facility around it. That's they of course did, and this is probably, you know, where that portal opened, or it's most definitely where the sphere building is, or this ball building, whatever you want to call it. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, if we compare this to D Machina, where the first rift appeared in D Machina, that was also where Pack-a-Punch was and also where Power was. So I think that there's a pretty big chance that this is also going to be where Power is. Maybe not Pack-a-Punch, maybe there is, I don't know. But either way, that could give us at least an idea of what's going to be happening in that building if we look at the previous map and then compared to this one. But given we've only had one map with a rift in it, it's not the greatest information to go off of, but it is something that we could probably speculate about. But either way, it does confirm that we are going to be having this whole Dark Ether theme. Probably the Dark Ether version of DLC 1 is also going to be a thing. When you enter the Dark Ether, it's going to be looking all different and everything, as we saw in D Machina, which is probably means is going to be a continuing thing to happen in pretty much every map going forward, because it seems like we are chasing down Omega Group, and Omega Group is chasing down these Dark Ether portals or the rifts. So it seems like that's probably going to be a common thing going forward inside these maps, which is something I've wondered about, if we're going to be going to the Dark Ether every single map, but it does look like it. Either way, the other thing I want to mention is the other writing on the top left where it says M, this is the place I spoke of, Omega Outpost 25. Two things to point out from this is that it says M, and who is that? Well, we actually have an answer to that, and that is Samantha Maxis. We know this because of literally before the launch, there was someone called M that we later found out was Samantha Maxis. So it's pretty confident that they're talking about Samantha Maxis here. The other thing that we can't really explain too much, but it is something of note, is that it says that this is Omega Outpost 25. That's a lot of outposts. And now I don't know exactly if that means there's like 25 other or even more than that rifts around the world that Omega Group went and built a whole facility around like they did for this one. I don't know if that's the case. It seems pretty likely, but at the same time, even if there is, it's probably not going to be too relevant because obviously we're not going to have 25 maps in this game. Maybe, we're going to do that for the next 7 games, I guess. Maybe then it'll equal out then. But currently, I don't think it's going to be very likely that that's the case. But I think it's just, face value stuff here that this is just another location. For some reason, we decided to go to this one over all the other ones, which we do know rifts have opened in different places in, I think we know one South America and a couple other places. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but we do know that there's a lot of portals being opened around the world, or a lot of rifts. Now, finally, and probably the most mysterious part of all of this is the bottom right, where it says more soon R. Now, obviously, Outer Universes is probably just Treyarch telling us that there's going to be more soon. We're going to get more teasers, probably a new teaser for zombies every day leading up till the 15th, where we get probably the proper reveal for DLC 1. But in universe, it's of course talking to whoever's providing this information to Samantha Maxis, just telling them they're going to give more information. And of course, it leaves it off with an R, which is weird. Because if you think about it, that how Treyarch has literally been doing this since Black Ops 3, but they've been, just people, their names, they just put it for a single letter, and then we have to figure out who that is, which, as we know, M in this game already stands for Maxis, which we know, the only Maxis here is Samantha Maxis, but this person's name is starts with an R. And if we at least assume that it's going by the same logic as M is for Samantha Maxis, which would mean that this is a letter of their last name, because obviously if it was Samantha that it stood for, it would be S instead of M, and her last name is M, obviously. But this would mean whoever this is, their name ends in an R, or their last name starts in R, excuse me. And I was looking through characters in the story so far. Gregory Weaver doesn't really work. Dr. Gray, not really. Dr. Strauss, Major Carver, and everyone else that we could think of. It's not really matching up with anybody we currently are aware of at this point. But I think that there's 2 possibilities for who this could be. One much, much, much more likely than the other. And this is that it's just a new character that rather we heard of, but we didn't know his name, or it's a new character entirely. But there's also another possibility if we think of one character who does have a last name that starts in an R. Don't get your hopes up for this, because I don't think it's the case. It seems very, very unlikely. But the only person that I could think of that their last name ends in an R is that, Edward Richtofen. So, again, don't get your hopes up. It's probably not the case. Probably most definitely not the case. We don't even know if, Eddie is even going by Richtofen in this universe, because we only ever called him Eddie. So, he may not even be going by that name, to be completely honest. But either way, it is something to keep note of. This person may or may not be important, because it may be a character that's important to the map, or it may just be, a character like Tatiana that, we got information from originally, but she ended up dying, and wasn't important literally inside the map at all. It's only important, for, the story before the map D Machina. That may be happening here again. But either way, guys, I've spent too much time talking about this. Hopefully, it was worth the listening to for you guys. But I love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on what's going on here. Who do you think R is? What do you think is going to go on? What do you think of the map? You guys like what's going? Do you guys think we're going to reveal on the 15th? All that stuff. I love to hear all your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. But that's about it for me. If you guys did enjoy the video, though, and you guys are excited for DLC 1, then definitely do all the normal YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, bell, share, and all that great stuff. But I'm going to go, and I'll catch you guys next stream, video, or whatever that may be, and laters, guys.